Hello there, what's going on? Doug Cunnington here, and I have a kind of a, I don't know, a raspy sort of radio voice today, a little sexier voice. So let me know if you could hear me. Thanks for the folks that were hanging on. Today I'm going to do a little demo, like a link building demo, and not the whole thing, but sort of prospecting and looking for, and actually we'll see where it goes. So I didn't do any prep ahead of time. Hopefully a couple of people are going to show up here. Otherwise I'll just have to, make up a few things as we go. The couple big things I want to mention right away. This live stream is sponsored by OneLittleWeb, and basically I've been testing them out. So I got a couple links from them, which I shared recently on my email list. So if you aren't on the email list, you can go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email, and you'll be able to start getting emails from me. And I'll show you those links in a second, those actual guest posts that they put out there. And the sites get, natural traffic, which is good. They get traffic from Google, from organic. And I can't remember the DRs, but they were pretty high. I think one was like 55. The other one was in the 70s. And OneLittleWeb is offering an offer. They're offering an offer. They're offering a special deal for my audience here. So you can get a DA50 domain authority plus 50 plus guest post. And if you get that, then they'll throw in a DA40. You get to pick the domains. That's kind of the cool thing that they do. Basically, they'll give you the choice to pick between a couple of them, and then you're able to, get exactly what you're looking for. They also have what's called, what is it called? It's like traffic based, right? So you can get the DA version if that's important to you, or if you want to make sure it gets a certain minimum amount of natural organic traffic, you can pick your domain based on that too, or guest post based on that. Either way, they guarantee 5,000 organic traffic, which is verifiable with third-party sources. So that's the important part. And they have 1,000 words, unique and well-researched content, blah, blah, blah. All right, so thanks for OneLittleWeb. That's out of the way, and we can get into the business. We have Sanjay, what's up? We have Merchants UK Homebrew, and Adrian. What's going on, folks? So thanks for hopping in. If you want me to actually look and try to find prospects for your specific sites, we can do that. We can do like a real demo from the audience. So if you have a specific site where you're like, hey, I want to see if you could find a place for me to link, I'll research and I'll see if I could find anything. I don't know if I will be able to, but we'll see how it goes. To buy us a little time here while I'm waiting for a suggestion, perhaps, what I'm going to do is show you the one or two of the links that they got for me for Niche Site Project recently. So I'm away from my home office, of course. So I'm like looking around. Which window am I working with here? Let's get that out of the way. Boom. Okay, that's better. And you can't see it yet, but I'm going to show you. All right. So I decided, because I wanted to be able to share the links that I got. So I was like, I'm just going to have them build a couple guest posts to Niche Site Project. All right. So I typically try not to work with my own personal sites in a public way, just my personal choice. Although people really want that to be done, but generally only negative things could happen. Like for the actual site, from a promotion standpoint, it's great. But, maybe one day if I'm bored. So basically, here we go. This is a website that has like WordPress themes, maybe some other little software too. So they actually sell some stuff, and you can see they have ads over on this section over here. So they have like some ads going, and you can see they have some Facebook activity, over here. And basically I was like, hey, what are a couple posts that I would be happy to get a couple links to? So one is like an SEO post that I have that is about WordPress silos and kind of like how to structure them. So I'm going to open that in another tab here so we can just kind of take a look. It does link over here, and I should honestly I should update this. I wrote this quite a few years ago. Turns out it's still holds up pretty well, but I probably should update it. Some of the graphics sort of suck, but as I'm coming back, oh, and I got a little pop-up here, sort of an older school pop-up. When I hop back over here, and by the way, I would probably get rid of the pop-up too. I'm a little less aggressive. I want people to want to sign up for my email list. I don't want them to think, oh man, I may as well sign up, So anyway, that's where the link goes. One thing, you could check, you can right click on it, go to inspect, and then you see it's the link right here. And there's no follow tag. This is a do follow link, so that's all good. And I think the rest of the content, I quickly perused it. I mean, it's a general kind of topic that someone can write about, even if they weren't super aware of the topic. They could just research it and then write a post like this. So it's siloing WordPress content, blah blah blah. And just looking, I'm just looking at the subheadings here, and I can see the subheadings make sense. So as long as the content follows along with the subheadings, that's pretty good. I didn't read the whole thing. One good thing to do is to read like the first paragraph or so and make sure the content sounds okay. The metrics for this site are pretty good. Like I said, I can't remember off the top of my head, but overall they're pretty good. So that's post one that I got from OneLittleWeb. And the other one, let me get the link for us here. So this is One Step Forward, and this is sort of a online business digital nomad kind of site. And you can see custom graphics. I guess that's the dude there. A lot of ads. I hate these video ads, and I hate. There's another video going down here. Just as a browser, I don't enjoy them. So I wanted to also get a link to 6-Figure Business Ideas, which is another post over on Niche Site Project here. There's a picture of a young Doug. So if you haven't read this one, it's pretty good. Anyway, I talk about a few business ideas, and it turns out I'm not, I don't want to do a service-based business. There's just a lot more, to me, I just don't like the way the business runs, but very profitable, right? I mean, you can do great with service-based businesses, but I don't want to work with clients in that capacity. So anyway, pretty good post. I wasn't actually trying to rank for anything. I think I was just like, I have some business ideas. I want to share them. I'm not going to do them. And as I started looking at a few more of them, I was like, this is a pretty good post. So it's actually, I think it's ranking if you look for 6-Figure Business Ideas. Anyway, if anyone's in the chat, it'd be interesting if you Googled it and see where it popped up. So it fits with both of these sites, right? So this is a key thing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here, but there's a couple other links. There's obviously ads on here. I think this site gets a decent amount of traffic. So the kind of the idea is for both of those cases, I wanted to get a link to a specific topic. And it was important to me to have the links coming from a site that's relevant. So for the first URL that I wanted to get the link to, it was WordPress silos. It's kind of SEO related. So a WordPress theme site kind of makes sense to me. It is in the right topic area. They're both kind of in the WordPress ecosystem. SEO is kind of universal, but this is pretty close. That's pretty close to me. With the other one, it's about earning money online, starting a business, side hustles. The topic fits as well. The One Step Forward, that site, it covers it covers other topics as well. And that's fine, but it fits in one of the topic areas where it's like starting a business. Here's a service-based business, and it totally makes sense. So thanks to Merchants UK. Homebrew says it's position 2 in the UK, which is cool. And Usama, what's up? So anyway, the point is relevancy was high, in my opinion, for both of those. So pretty helpful overall. The other thing is, let's see. Actually, I'm going to go a little deeper on the relevancy part. So it's relevant on sort of a domain level to the topic that I'm trying to get a link to. And then the post is relevant in each case. And wherever the link comes from, that is also relevant. So those are sort of like different layers of like how relevant like the content could be. It matches up pretty good. And some people they get into the trap of, oh, there's Georgie back there. Hey, Georgie, what's up? She's like, I'm done with my nap. Let's go for a walk. She's like, let's get out of here. All right. So she's going to try and poke my hand and try to get me to take her out. So I'll just keep petting her here. All right. So people fall into the trap potentially of trying to get a link for something so specific, right? So let's say yesterday I did a demo and an outline for portable basketball hoops. And if you start looking for websites that are about portable basketball hoops, you're going to find a couple things. Number one, you're probably going to find the manufacturer's websites, which they're probably not super interested in having you guest post on their site. They're probably just not. The other thing you're going to find is all your competitors. So if you're looking for something super specific, you're probably not going to find it. And if you find anything, it's going to be a dead end. So in that case, and by the way, if anyone wants me to try to find guest post opportunities for your specific site, let me know. Or if you want to propose a niche or something like that. Otherwise, I may just use the example from yesterday with the portable basketball hoops and maybe niche site project too. So you have to look more generally. So if you're thinking about, I do internet marketing, SEO for niche site project, some side hustles, some business ideas. So there's a pretty big range of sites. And as you can see, there's like a WordPress theme site that I can post on, and it fits in with the SEO side. For One Step Forward, it's like on the business side. So it can link to a business related post. And potentially, right, I could have swapped them, right? If I wanted to get a link to the 6-figure business idea post, it probably can fit on the WordPress site. It's not as tight of a fit, but it's pretty darn close, because a lot of people who are building their own website, they're probably doing it for a business, right? Probably most people are doing it for a business related reason versus just a hobby. So in that case, they may be interested in businesses as well. The other site with One Step Forward, they do talk about blogging. So a subcategory of blogging would potentially be SEO and formatting and architecting your website. So in either case, they could fit, but I placed them in the more specific area, in my opinion. You can slice it and dice it, and I think variety is good. Like overall, to have links from different kinds of sites all over the place. All right, cool. All right, we have some chat activities. Gabrielle says, you're listening while you're working. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the support. Osama says, when should I start building links? Your site is 4 months old. I would say start immediately. If you have some reason why you're waiting, then let me know. But in my opinion, there's no reason to wait. I don't know why you would wait. Now, I'll go ahead and say, you may hear people say, hey, if you start a new website, no one's going to link to it. And I call bullshit on that. All right. People don't like to build links. So that's a fun thing for us to say, like, oh, you know what? It's just not natural to get links early on. Let's say I start something. Actually, I was thinking of a business idea today. I'll tell you what it is too. I mean, it's copying someone else's. People know AppSumo, right? So AppSumo, Noah Kagan's company, they find deals, and basically they have a big email list, and they squeeze. It's kind of like the Amazon or Walmart, and this could be a stretch, but they really squeeze deals out of companies that maybe have poor marketing. Maybe it's actually not a great fit, but they really beat down companies to get good deals out of them. And I've purchased some of the deals, and a couple of the companies go out of business, right? Because they probably overextended. I don't know. So anyway, the point is, there's a decent business model there, right? So they're just good at marketing. They're sending out emails. I could build email lists. And I was like, you could do that and niche it down and do it for specific industries, right? So they sort of serve online entrepreneurs, right? They're digital tools like 99% of the time for people like us, right? So anyway, you could start a email list essentially in a marketing company where you have deals, right? It's not a novel idea. So if I was launching that company, I would probably promote it. I would probably reach out to all my friends who have websites, podcast, and YouTube channel, and I would promote it, and I would ask them to link to it, and I would ask them to send traffic my way. So a new website probably should get links because you're doing something and you're telling people about it. All right. So I call bullshit if people are like, oh, you know what? It's not natural for sites to get links if they just start. Basically, it's not natural for a site to get links if it's a beginner starting the site. That's my opinion. So I call bullshit on it. All right. And a couple people mentioned that six-figure online businesses is at the bottom of page 1 in the UK. Oh, Damien's on. What's up? And six-figure business idea, Damien says it's number 1. Cool. So thanks for checking that. Okay, well, we got a couple suggestions. So today we're doing a little demo. So I'm actually going to share my screen. So I'll answer the couple random questions in here, but sometimes, it's kind of irrelevant. So Raul, for example, is saying, is Bing traffic good for Amazon affiliate sites? And sure, it could be fine, but I think it's probably more important about what keywords you're targeting, right? So if you have keywords that suck, that are not going to convert in the way that you hope, then no, that it's not good. But that would be the case for Google or any other traffic that you get. All right, and Osama says, waiting to get traffic and then you build links to look natural. So again, go back to my example. If you're launching something and you promote it and you tell people about it, then like it's normal. That is a normal thing, right? Let me know if I'm wrong, because I've kind of been digging in my heels on that one pretty good. Okay, so UK Homebrew says, what about paintball or airsoft? Okay, so let's brainstorm a little bit. This is part of the process to find prospects out there. So who's the audience for paintball and airsoft? So let me know, and I'll try to come up with a couple ideas myself, but you got to kind of think about, who the audience is, who you're trying to attract. And if you find the overlap, then you're in good shape. Again, if you look for paintball and airsoft, you're probably going to find your competitors. You're going to find other people that may not be able, they don't want to work with you right now. Maybe if you get big enough, they would want to work with you, but you don't want to, probably it's just not going to work out if you go to your competitors. So you have to think a little bit further out. And when I think of paintball and airsoft, so paintball, I would think I'm thinking young. I don't know why, but I'm thinking sort of like younger people. I think maybe it's like my brother-in-law, my wife's brother. He played paintball like in high school and like early college. He was like really into it. I think he worked at one of the facilities or something like that. So I'm thinking sort of younger people. I'm thinking people that like to get outside, get outdoors versus people that maybe sit inside and read and play video games. Like, I think not that those are exclusive or go together, but I'm thinking sort of younger people. Okay, so Damien says paintball market, college students, young professionals for business bonding activities. Cool. So we're getting some ideas. So awesome. So college students, and then we also have young professionals for business bonding activities. Okay, so a couple things we can look at. Number one, I'm going to use basically a search technique that will find footprints, and I'm going to use one that I often say, hey, like I wouldn't use this one, but it's kind of the easiest way to get started in finding some of these. So let me share my screen again here. And one of the easiest ways is to look for something with right for us. So obviously if I just search for that, there's going to be, if there's 55 million results and just arbitrary. It's kind of funny to see all of those pop out. Okay. And some people are talking about corporate events, business bonding, and so on. So we have right for us. And then we're going to just look for different niches out there. So I like the corporate events. So we'll take corporate events and see like if there's any sites that have corporate events related to it. And then of course the quotes here, right? The double quotes searches for this exactly. So right for us. So we still have a lot of them out there, and what we end up finding, right? So let's open up some of these. So we would go to SME planners. Then we have marketing profs, best event planner, food tank. So we have all these opportunities to potentially work with them. And it tells us exactly, like these are the pages that have the information that we need. So let's just open up these first 4 that popped up. And this is just a very broad corporate events. And you can see there's a lot of them on, there's a lot of them on here. And then I'm going to show you a couple other things to sort of narrow it down. Because what happens a lot of times is you end up with like too broad of topics. Maybe you end up kind of in the wrong spot, the wrong part of the internet here. And what's up to Carl and Bahrat and NK? NK says, did I miss too much? You didn't miss too much, but you'll probably want to rewind to get the context of everything that we're talking about here. So what's up, Carl? All right. So in this one, right, so strategic meetings and events, and they kind of qualify like who they're looking for, and they give you a few topics, they give you a couple of industry segments, so you kind of understand who to target. What are they looking for? The tone, what kind of post will get rejected? So they let you know that, like, if you try to submit anything like this, it's not going to work. We're going to reject it. So anything that's part of an obvious link building scheme. All right, so you have to look out for that. They give you some ideas for what can work well. So have a look at those and, see what is common. And you'll see that a lot of sites do nearly the same thing. They let you know how many links you could put in. And this is pretty standard. This is very thorough. And if you go through it and you have an idea and you're like, okay, I could fit the criteria and the constraints that they're giving me here, it's worth checking out. This one's really good because they do tell you what to expect. So you could submit the pitch using the form. If you don't receive a response within 10 days, So they ask for your name, bio, all this stuff, right? I'm not going to read it all out. So they want to make sure you're a real person. They ask why you want to write for them. How did you find them? Links to other posts. And by the way, they ask for it here, which is very smart. But if you are looking at another site and they don't ask for it, still provide it. Say, hey, I guest posted on these other sites. It provides social proof. They can see the quality of what you're submitting, and it's very effective, right? Very effective. This is one of the top things. This may be more important than, why you want to write for them. Moving on, they have multiple pitches. So they ask for 3 pitches, and they ask for the headline and then an intro and overview. So this is very thorough, right? This is very thorough because they are looking for basically the headline and an outline. So recently, someone sent me an email. They were like, hey, Doug, can I guest post on Niche Site Project? And I would say 99.9 I reject, right? But I was like, you know what? I'm curious. Like, it was an okay pitch. It looks like they have an okay website. And I just replied back, hey, why are you doing this? Are you like going to put links in? Like, what's the situation here? And then I said, all right, well, what topic do you have? Right. So they replied back and they were like, hey, I'm just trying to build my credentials. I'm not putting links in or anything. I mean, it'd be great to get a bio link back to my website. So I was like, okay, that's legit. If someone's like, hey, I'm featured on, a couple big blogs, great. So I didn't have an issue with that. Their topic was so keyword like forced, right? Keyword rich. I was like, this actually doesn't even make sense. Like, what is the outline? Like, maybe I'm missing something. Send me the outline. So they sent me the outline, and like the outline was kind of bullshit. So I was like, you know what? It's an iterative process. And I thought, okay, I don't like these 4 sections of the outline out of 10, right? So I didn't have a huge issue. Basically, I was like, hey, I don't agree with these parts. Like, can you elaborate on why you think that? And then they just didn't write back, right? So if they would just like participate in the process, they could have been all right. But anyway, this is a good one. This is pretty typical. And probably if you go through this and you have a decent idea, like, you'll be able to guest post. All right, so let's look at the next one. Marketing profs. The publication queue. So a lot of them, they'll just give you information. So one thing that jumps out is their publication queue for contributing articles can be 3 to 4 months long. So they are highly selective. They do offer sponsored articles, so that's actually pretty smart for them to do. And as we go through topics they cover, so they give you topics, types of content that they publish, very helpful. And the reason why I'm going through this is they tell you the criteria they're looking for. So all you have to do is paint within the lines here, and you have a pretty good shot of getting featured there. They do mention the article length. They want a bio. They want relevant links preceding the words to be linked. So they tell you exactly what to do. And the thing is, if you fuck this up, right? If you do it wrong and you, for example, you put the links after the words instead of before, then they don't like that. If you do embed the links in the anchor text, they don't like that either, right? So if you don't follow their rules, you probably just wasted your time. And they want Word documents. They don't want PDFs. They don't want a Google Doc, blah, 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 right? So basically follow the rules. If you screw up on any of these like little things, you're probably not going to get published. So very key. I think we'll go faster because this is, it goes the same over and over again. So write for us, you can contribute, You can choose your niche, send a different article. So this one, they cover a lot of different sort of events. Okay, so as we're looking at these, right, we don't want to lose sight, like I am clearly doing on the paintball stuff, right? So as we're looking at the like marketing profs, for example, they have content they publish, summary of findings, byline, thought leadership, and here are the topics. So branding, marketing operations, da 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 da. So as I look through these, it's not really a good fit for team building and essentially like paintball as a team building corporate event. Now, for the other side, the strategic meetings and events, event professionals, marketing professionals, and entrepreneurs. So event professionals, that could be like, we may be able to fit that in. So these are talking about events. So for this one, potentially you could pitch an idea, something like unusual corporate team building events to get your team to bond more deeply, and that are sort of out of the normal spectrum of what people do. Although back in, I think it was it must have been 99 or so, we did a paintball team building at the place I was like interning at. Pretty fun. It was pretty fun. David's on too. What's going on? And David mentions that these are great tips. Listen to what they say. It's the best way for sites to filter out lazy people and junk content. Yep, 100%. I mean, essentially, if you don't follow the rules, you're creating more work for them, and don't do that, right? You want them to do a favor for you, so don't do that. For the marketing profs, and let's hop back. So for marketing profs, probably not a good fit here. For this other one, they're talking about the niches. So this is best event planner. And as I'm looking at all of these are more related to like not corporate events. So this is probably a no-go as well. So Food Tank is the think tank for food. All right. I'm not sure if that's a good fit either. Food Tank is looking for creative writers. Food policy, food, something. So this, again, probably not a good fit because it's all oriented around like food and that sort of thing. So based on like team building and what we're looking for, we could maybe, instead of corporate events, we'll say corporate team building. Let's see what comes up here. And by the way, folks, if you're just hopping in, actually, you know what? I didn't even mention it before, but yesterday I did another demo style live stream where I wrote an outline based on like a keyword that was contributed, just like this paintball stuff that we're talking about today, to try and build links. So you can watch that live stream yesterday. Obviously, when you watch the recording, you can watch it like 1.5 speed, so it goes a little faster for you, but people are finding these demos very helpful. It seems like less people watch them live, and it could be a symptom of the fact that I publish videos every single day. So people probably ignore the notifications. That's my hunch, but people watch them later when they see them in their feed. That's my guess. But I think I saturate things with the amount of content that I put out on YouTube. All right. So in this case, an interesting thing here. So we see what's the point of corporate team building. And the thing is, they probably still have a Write for Us page on here. But, I don't want to read this article. I want to go to the Write for Us page. So let me show you a little trick here. So let's take a look at these couple. So number one, we see amazing appeal and then Write for Us. And when I look at the other other one, there is actually this URL is nonsense. It's like 100 words long here, right first, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then this other one, point of corporate team building. So they probably have a route right for us page somewhere on this site, somewhere on this page, but most likely, they'd sent us to a different one. So that's the issue. So actually, I'm just curious. I'm going to do a Command F, and I'll look for right for us. So you see it shows up at the bottom here. All right, it shows up at the bottom. So I'm going to open that. So it wasn't a dead end, but if you just want to, I didn't want to read this article. I want to get to the right for us page. So there, we see that. Perfect. So before I move on too much, it does say right for us here. They have contributor guidelines. And one thing I'm going to do, I think that is the title. So one thing you could do, there's a couple advanced Google search strings that you can do. And what there's one that's, it's in URL, and then you could just put like right. So it's in URL, and we want right to be in the URL. So that should filter out a handful of these things. So that way, all of these are right for us. And you may notice, right, there's a lot of them that have them in the title. So you could also say in title, right. And you could even say, like, for the URL, although I think it would maybe be too specific, you could put right for us. So you want all that to show up. So you can really like surgically search for things. Like once you find the common theme, you will have to look, you'll have to observe how people are titling things. But if you do this, you're going to cut out a lot of that noise, which is helpful because, as you can see, we've whittled it down from whatever, like 50 million or something to like 68,000. Still more than you're going to look at, of course, but at least you're able to narrow it down. You can do the same kind of thing for, these footprints that we're looking for. And that's what you're looking for, right? We can use Google to just search for stuff. The other thing that you may try, right? So we have corporate team building, right for us, blah, blah, blah. You could go over to like, I think, is it tools or settings? Let's look at tools. So you can look for things that were published more recently, not super relevant for this as far as, I guess you can look for verbatim results, but I think that would be too much. So there are some other things you can do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else with just the searches that you can use, the searches that you're looking for. If you wanted to, right? So I just noticed also, let's say you wanted to find .gov sites or something. So you could say in URL and then put .gov. So you're looking for .government, or if you're looking for .edu, right? So you could really narrow it down if you wanted to. You may not find anything, but it could be worthwhile. I'm not sure. So, Udessa's on, by the way, and yeah, I'm just revisiting the chat so I don't forget about everyone. Adrian says that you haven't been getting the notifications, and I haven't been in the feed. You have to keep searching, and you're subscribed with notifications on. Interesting. And and okay. So what we have is, a few more that we can look at here, and then I see some comments. So Adrian, it's interesting to note that. I'm going to pop back full screen here for a second. Yeah, so Adrian says you're subscribed with notifications on and just not getting them. So I hear people complain, often about it, and I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. It could actually be the symptom of, like I said, I publish something every single day. So I don't know like what to do exactly, but I would say thank you, Adrian, for searching because that does show a sign. It's like, oh, you're watching the videos. Now it's weird. People consume YouTube in different ways. So I would say the recency, or at least when I watch YouTube, right? So if I start watching a bunch of videos on a certain topic, I see more of those suggested. If I watch a lot from a certain creator, I'll see more and more of those suggested as well. So, and I honestly have no clue. I know YouTube talks, or I hear people talk about it, but honestly, I'm keeping my head down and I'm continuing to doing what I'm doing, shifting here and there. But thank you for searching for it. Thanks for letting me know. I have also thought of just having like an email list that I tag, or it would be a tag within my full email list where I'm like, these people want YouTube stuff. Every time I publish something on YouTube, I'm going to send it out to this crew. So, all right, let's get back to it here. I'll share my screen again. So let's just take a quick look. I think I've gone through a few of these, and essentially if you follow the directions, you have a good chance. And you can see there are dozens and dozens of these where you potentially can land it. So they're not all going to work out, but it's part of the prospecting just process. Like it's what you need to do. So yeah, I'm not going to repeat all this stuff, but essentially they tell you exactly like what you can do. So they have article topics. So how to coaching a team of professionals. So part of the magic is to come up with some ideas that might work for sites that are a little outside of what you're looking for. So in this one, I see trust building and I see coaching a team of professionals. So I could make the argument for the trust building, like how to build trust in your team with corporate team building events. One of them could be paintball. All right. So you have to connect a few dots, but once you connect those dots, you can just use that same one over and over again. So as we see, good to go. Awesome. Yeah, so I think it's fairly straightforward. And you will, I mean, if you have a good pitch that is okay and you follow the directions, if they don't like the specific topic, they may suggest a couple others for you, right? They may let you know what, we don't like this part, but we like your pitch. We like some of the other posts that you've published. So will you do this? So they'll ask for some changes. All right. So again, this is, sort of a poor result, but then they do have a Write for Us section here. 2021 content themes. So they have content themes for the year, which is kind of smart. So in that case, they let you know company culture. I think you could fit in team building potentially with company culture. And let's see, modern employee benefits and gratitude and appreciation. So I think you can wedge paintball as a team building exercise into a few of these areas. Maybe so again, once you connect the dots, I would just be repeating myself, but you see how you could fit it in. A lot of the articles, I mean, this is great too. It's like 800 to 1,000 words. They're not asking you for like 5,000 words typically. And they just want high quality content that fits their audience. That is the main idea. And the thing is, once you start looking, you'll find quite a lot of these out there. And we took, something that seemed like completely unrelated, and we were just looking at one little area, right? We're just looking at one spot of corporate team building for paintball. That's just like one little application, and probably if you went hard after it, I'm just going to make up a number. I bet you could find 1,000 prospects out there if you looked around that sort of fit in this area of corporate HR, corporate team building, events. I bet you could find 1,000 prospects. You're not going to guest post on all of those. You're not going to be able to make that work out. But if you reached out to 1,000 of them, there's a good chance you're going to get dozens. That is a lot. That is a lot. I've actually been looking at a specific, like a new site that I have where I've built quite a few links, and just the impact as far as the domain authority and the domain rating. It took a little while for everything to kick in, but it was a new site, and I was like, oh, this is super interesting data. And yeah, cool. So any questions? We're going to start wrapping it up here. And I was holding. So a lot of times, so quick note, we have someone, Gift Light Bulbs, is asking, Doug, comment your main site lost 2/3 of visits within a year and a year and a half. So I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about exactly, but I work pretty hard to keep my sites under the radar. And I'll tell a little story, because sometimes people are like, oh, a lot of other people do public sites. So I've had multiple sites hit with negative SEO where people just hunted them down and found them. And one of them got like a penalty. I had to deal with that. Lost, a lot of money, right? A lot of money. So as far as keeping my sites under wraps, sometimes it's a little hard. Some people, figure it out. And sites do lose traffic from time to time. However, what I can tell you is I'm pretty sure that you don't know what you're talking about on that. On whatever you think you know is probably different than what you know. So didn't want people to think I was like just ignoring that question or anything like that. But I try to do as much as I can. I sell, I promote my own products, my own courses and stuff like that. And I could potentially, maybe sell more courses, the case studies are very popular. If you're interested in public case studies, Alex over at WP Eagle, he has a couple going. You can just go to his channel and you'll be able to find many updates on his public site. Spencer over at Niche Pursuits, he has one as well. And I was going to say, I think Authority Hacker, they had a public site back in the day, Health Ambition, I believe. And if I remember right, actually someone probably knows, they probably talked about it. Gail and Mark probably talked about Health Ambition, but I think that one has seen, ups and downs as well. So next, Udesha says, can we get right for us backlinks from high authority sites? Yes, you can. Why websites have right for us service? So it's not a service, but they have a page. They want content. They see the value of having more content on their site, and they can get people to write for them for free, right? So that is why they do it. And they also know that there's value in having content published. So they know if they put a Write For Us page, they probably can get content for free, and they potentially can get people to promote it and then maybe even link to it as like featured on, right? So it's not a bad move for especially companies where, let's say it's a service-based business and they are not marketers, they're not writers, they don't have an interest in building a content team. So they're just doing their thing, right? They're doing the work that they're planning on doing, but they're not trying to basically basically they're like, hey, we can get content. All right, we can get some content, and we win the people win. That's why they have it. Abhishek, what's going on? Thanks for hopping on. We'll be wrapping up. So any other questions out here? UK Merchant says, you always find the streams informative and motivating. Awesome. So if anyone wants to give a thumbs up and share it, right? So if you find these helpful, like share it, talk about them on other people's streams. Hey, did you see Doug's? Like search for Doug's stuff. Word of mouth is helpful. And by the way, if you are, I know not a lot of people listen to, or not a lot, not everyone listens to podcasts, but I do have a podcast. And I talk about same topics, right? Cover different stuff. So it's not all duplicate. Some of them is similar, some of the same interviews, for example, but generally they're separate, right? And sometimes I talk about stuff that I don't talk about at all. For example, I did a contest a few weeks back, and I recently published an episode where I talked about all the mistakes that I made immediately afterward. It was one of those where I knew I made the mistake. Basically, I didn't even have to reflect. I was like, man, I fucked up in these areas, So anyway, the point is, check out the podcast, Doug Show. It's on the major directories. It's on Spotify. If you do that, I recently put Spotify on because I wanted, I wasn't going to do it, but couple guests were on Joe Rogan's show, and I was like, I want to check it out. I didn't want to check it out, but I try and just use the apps that are on my phone. Got an iPhone, just keep it simple. I've tried some other podcasting apps, but it's like it wasn't a big enough benefit, and I don't think I could delete like the default apps on the iPhone. Anyway, check out the podcast. Check out the podcast. All right, Gift Light Bulbs says, you think about the site, just asking my opinion why it's happened, and da-da-da-da-da. And what I'm telling you is you probably, you don't know what my sites are, is what I'm trying to tell you. So what I could tell you, because I've had some people contact me. All right, couple things. I've had some people, basically an equal number of people contact me that said, hey, with this latest Google update, I got more traffic. And then other people said, hey, I lost traffic. Roughly the same number, all right? So that's kind of interesting. But typically with these updates and gift light bulbs, I'm generalizing, like you're asking me about what you think my sites are. But what I'll answer is a more general question. So these Google updates, they happen often, a few times a year. We don't know when they're coming exactly. But there's going to be some ups and downs, typically. As far as like exactly why it happens, it depends. There's way too many variables. And the fact is, with the updates these days, it is even more difficult to tell because it's kind of holistically the view on your site. So a lot of times I have seen people that have let's say this like 18 months. Yeah, 18 months to 2 years roughly. I was seeing more people get impacted and lose traffic when they didn't have any backlinks, they didn't do any kind of link building or anything, and they literally just publish content. They seem to get hit more often. When people came to me, I was like, all right, how'd you promote your site? Did you do any shady link building? Did you do any link building? Do you just publish content? A lot of times people were like, I just publish content. I have like 3 backlinks. And I was like, that seems to be the common thread. Obviously, I'm not running a scientific experiment here or anything, but they were like, hey, we got no backlink. So I always encourage them, hey, you got to promote your site in some way. Just like, I was talking to, who was it earlier? Abhishek, or who was it? Usama. Usama was like, when should I start building links? And I was like, build links right away. You can ease into it. But I mean, if you're let's say you're starting a cupcake shop, you're going to tell some people about it initially. So even if you have a brand new website and a brand new business, you're probably going to do your best to promote it and maybe get the newspaper and radio station and some of the local press to talk about it. You may even tell some of your friends on Instagram to, link up from their website and try to get some links, right? You're going to promote your site. So it may be slower at the beginning, but I mean, you're going to promote your site. And let's see. Okay, and I got to wrap up. I got some other stuff to do today. I got some fun stuff going on. Oh, Carl says he uses Spotify. Awesome, Carl. Very cool. And then Aman asks, which is better, Thrive or Elementor? So I haven't used Elementor, but I personally hate Thrive, and I try not to use it as much as possible. I had to use it recently, a few weeks back, and I was quickly reminded why I don't like using it. Like I said, I never used Elementor, but I think you could take that as something too. I would avoid page builders and other bullshit that you don't need, A lot of times when people are talking about using those, they're affiliates, they're trying to sell you on using those sort of slower, more complicated things. And I just like minimal stuff. All right. Look at my hair. There's almost none. There's almost no hair. I save so much time just minimizing. And Adrian wisely says, to Aman, for speed purposes, use the Classic Editor. Yeah, I recommend Classic Editor. I would avoid Gutenberg. There's a lot of other garbage in there. And Adrian also says website builders, website builders, page builders are bloated and a lot of code. So, yep, I think there's probably a way to implement, both Thrive and Elementor and blah, 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 like in a leaner way. But basically, if you can remove complications, if you can remove decision points, it's going to be better, right? You're going to be better off. And I could tell you that, simple is often better, especially when, let's say you're just launching your site. Who cares what's on your homepage, man? Like, just keep it simple. Use a regular page, format it simply. You don't have to have a bunch of fancy stuff on your page. You're not a mature business yet. Like, you can just have it simple and just have the core piece of information that you need. So shout out to Adrian, I think I asked you this before. Okay, who are your dogs? Adrian, thanks for being the kind moderator in this case. Pretty awesome. MJ, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it. 24/7 Marketing says Elementor. Udessa says they make the site slow. And UK Merchant says slim your plugins for site speed. Yeah. And I mean, just keep it simple. And last question here, and last question and answer, and then Adrian will tell us his dogs. Will give a shout out to the dog. So Ria Dus says, is it better for SEO if you don't use any builder? I prefer to use Gutenberg. Yes, you were using Classic, but Gutenberg, you can come up with a better visual look. So from a pure SEO standpoint, the page builder shouldn't matter, right? The page builder and your theme shouldn't matter. Using Gutenberg would be fine. The main thing that we're talking about here is usability, at least from my perspective, and site speed. So using Thrive doesn't make me happy. Using other page builders, I'm using a Kajabi right now for my course platform, and I don't like using that page builder. It's just slow. I just want to go over to WordPress, have the editor, just type in my shit, and move on. I need a couple headings. I want to be able to put in some images. I don't want to put in blocks all over the place. I don't have to I don't want to have to insert blocks and remove blocks. I just want to work quickly. I am not a designer. And usually I appreciate a site that's simple versus a lot of noise. So I think I'm clearly biased and I'm clearly moving in that direction. One thing that you'll notice is I'm not pushing any affiliate stuff. And that is the thing you have to remember when your people are like, hey, you should definitely use Elementor. You should definitely use Thrive. They're affiliates. I'm literally not trying to sell you anything. So I hope that comes through. But when you hear people talk about it and they're like, oh, it looks beautiful. Like you want that page to look this way. I mean, they're trying to sell you a thing. Like, just remember that. So from a pure SEO standpoint, no, Redus, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but basically, what could be impacted is your site can load slower. So that would be sort of a secondary situation. So site speed is important, and Google tells us that it could be a ranking factor, but generally I think you're probably going to have like poor user metrics. People may click on your site to load it. It doesn't load right away, and they click back. They're like, I'm out. I don't care. I don't even want to see it. So I think you may run into issues like that. Okay. Wesley's on. Okay, and we're just finishing up. UK Merchants, thanks for the input. Wesley, good to see you, man. And Usama says, after you added Ezoic, your site slowed down. Is it affecting your rankings? So that I don't know. Like I just said, I think there could be secondary effect. But here's the deal. If you add any kind of display ads, it could be Ezoic, it could be AdSense, it could be AdThrive, fill in the blank. It's going to make your site load slower. So what I would do, Osama, is look at the Google PageSpeed Insight score and just see where you're at. See if there's some stuff you could improve. See if there's any major issues. What happens is like there's real-time auctioning for the ads. There's a lot of stuff going on, and whatever code it is, it's running some scripts, and there's different back and forth things happening. So it's just going to take longer. All right. Adrian says, the Kanich ones is Frodo, and the other one is Aki. Frodo and Aki, they have their 8-year-old. Okay. Awesome. Next, MJ says, anyway, yeah, thanks, Adrian. Shout out to his dogs. And MJ says, can really be such a small part of the overall puzzle. Awesome. Oh, and Carl says that you moved away from WordPress 2 years ago. I thought for a little bit, I was going to move over to a flat file system. There were a couple that I was looking at, and I was like, oh, it will be cool to do that. And people were like, SEO, blah, blah, blah. It's like metadata. Like you literally can just type it in. It's so much simpler than what we make it out to be, at least for the metadata for a given post or your site. It's like so straightforward. And okay, I can go on and on. All right. We're heading out. Everybody take it easy. If you're not signed up for the email list, netshotproject.com, and then click the green button, enter your name and email, and probably do a couple live streams next week. Not 100% sure. Have a good day out there.